Every Sunday on Upfront.
Jaron, we're on Capitol Hill.
The biggest names in politics. Come here. The issues. The interviews.
Welcome back. This month marks 50 years since the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald on Lake Superior, and it sure captured the fascination and imagination of Wisconsinites ever since.
Now, a new book, Wrecked, is taking a new look at the tragedy. We recently talked with the author, Tom Nelson, the Outagamie County executive and former Democratic state lawmaker.
So the book has now been out for a couple of months now. I'm curious, especially now, especially around the 50th anniversary and all this chatter, what's the reaction been to the book that you've received?
I mean, it's been overwhelming. And I think part of the reason why it's been overwhelming is I try to tell Wisconsin's story. Because when you think of the Fitzgerald, it's like Michigan, Ohio, but Wisconsin constitutes a really big part of that history. And plus, given my background, I approach it completely differently because authors in the past are usually shipwreck enthusiasts. So they look at the proximate causes of what happened the night of November 10th, 1975. I do not have a shipwreck background history, but I do have a politics and public policy and the little guy getting worked over by corporations background. So I took a different perspective to this, unearthed a lot of material that had not been brought to light before.
And Tom, given your background, you argue in the book that the ship should have never sank in the first place. You point to some of the maintenance issues, even regulatory conflicts of interest there, and essentially blame the company for that. What was your goal in writing this?
Well, the goal was to try to explain how the Fitzgerald was a vehicle that literally and figuratively carried the U.S. economy in the 1960s and 1970s. Absolutely indispensable because it carried taconite ore from Minnesota down to Toledo. And that was turned to steel, made into ships and cars and machine tools in Milwaukee, paper machines up here in the Fox Valley. And that was a huge part of the U.S. economy. So I wanted to do that first and foremost. But number two, I came at it with an open mind. And it was very clear to me, based on the people I talked to, the evidence I was able to dig up, that the reason why the ship sank is that it was not seaworthy. It was not maintained well. The Coast Guard and regulatory agencies looked the other way. There were some design problems at the beginning. There was firsthand testimony in a deposition conducted back in 1977 that said as much. It was from what I like to call the 30th crew member, Red Bergner, who had sailed the ship for 10 years and knew it inside and out and knew that it was falling apart. They had been tack welding, patching up the keel of the ship for years.
Tom, take me inside this project. How long did it take you to write this? Who did you talk to, and how did you find some of these people?
Well, this was a labor of love. It's one of these projects where all pieces came together. So it took me about 4 months to research and write a first draft. I talked to about a dozen family members, about 6 were willing to go on the record. And I found one family member who had never been interviewed before. That was the younger brother of Michael Armagost, who was a third mate, who may have been in the pilot house when it went down.
Did I read correctly that you literally knocked on some of these people's doors to initially make contact with them?
Yeah, I did. I have to thank Spokio.com. You know, you just type these names in and you get addresses and phone numbers of the past 20 years. And so I went to Iron River, knocked on doors outside of Iron River, and found Fred Armagost. And that's where we spoke. We spoke in his front yard and explained to me that I was the first one ever to talk to him. And he gave me a really good insight. And what I learned talking to Armagost as well as Russell Haskell in Door County is that these guys lived long. They lived long, hard lives, not knowing exactly why their loved one perished.
What's your takeaway? What did you learn from this process of writing this book?
I think above all, I really was able to appreciate the human element and being able to talk to families and allowing them, facilitating opportunity for them to tell their story, I think was cathartic for them, but I also thought it was important too, because this is so much more than a tragedy on Lake Superior. It's so much more than a folk song that is a staple on rock stations. And there is a human face behind that. And I think whenever we hear about the Fitzgerald, we should remember the people, the fallen, first and foremost.
I'm going to let you make your sales pitch with this question. Tom, you're no stranger to politics. The Outagamie County executive, ran for state senate, former Democratic state lawmaker. Why should a Republican pick up this book and believe what you're writing?
Because I've actually got a lot of great feedback from Republicans. I look at both parties, how both parties are guilty of following neoliberal politics and economics, which meant that we were not making appropriate investments in industry. And I think a lot of people will look at that and be able to relate with those examples. So in that respect, gloves off, I made it very clear that everything was on the table to be critical, and I think both Republicans and Democrats and independents will appreciate this argument.
Sounds perfect for Wisconsin from that pitch. Fascinating look 50 years later. Tom Nelson, author of the new book, Wrecked. Tom, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Great to be on.
Tom will be at Boswell Book Company in Milwaukee Thursday for book talk and signing. Up next, the growing race for governor. Who's next to get in and what to watch for? WisPolitics' J.R. Ross is standing by next.